So right here, you're looking at the executive overview for the Superstore, which was compiled using data that was provided by Tableau. As you know, the data spans for about 4 years, 2014 all the way to 2017. So what I wanted to reemphasize this time around, if I go up here real quick, I can, let's do, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it so that we have about a year of coverage. There we go. Okay, there we go. So one thing I wanted to focus on this time around in this video was the change in the relative data for to inform the stakeholders of the Superstore so they can make more informed decisions, and also based on sales and projections from the data that was collected, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So if I break it down, we have monthly sales by segment, and on the other side we have monthly sales by category. We also have 3 categories, which are furniture, supplies for the office, and technology. So if we look at January, you see we have about $6,000 in sales, $1,000 in profit. Let's skip to April 2014. Sales are around 8,000, profits $1,000. And then June 22,000 with 4,000 in profit. And then right after, about between August, September, we have a rise, and we would have September with $43,000 in sales and 12,000 in profit. So I would say that is a peak for sales of this year alone. And then there's a drop to about 13,000 in sales and 2,000 in profit, but then we go back up again to 31,000. This is for the consumer chart. You could say for the corporate, if we look at the January, similar to the above, which was very low levels of sales, $130. Not much up until here, which would be around October, September. We're at $5,941 in sales, and then about 1,197 in profit. So we could see a correlation again. Yeah. So if we go ahead and get the rest of the data. Okay. So if we look at the entire time frame, we would notice there's a peak around September of 2014. There's also a peak about December for corporate, and then for the home office, there's a peak around February. So there's a peak here, another one here, and another one here. So all these peaks are around the same time in terms of the cold season. And last time I mentioned how we could also apply this to the categories on the right side. We could do the same thing here. Try to maintain that the claim that cold weather, that's when people tend to buy the most product. So if we were to make a responsible conclusion, it would be that you would have to look at the data and see that at the end of the year, and most sometimes at the beginning of the year, you see large amounts of sales and also profits. So as I said before, we could keep on exploring different trends and why certain data shows that steady growth might have dropped sharply at some point, or why it might have come back up during certain times of the year. Maybe the weather is something I'm not supposed to be focusing on. Perhaps it might be something different that's causing the data to be to show exactly this line pattern on the chart. So as I go back to the first page, we have all the states of the U.S. and you'll see how, as I said before, you have the patterns, you have the peaks signaling. Most sales happen during the winter or at the end of summer. If we look at profitable in general, the thing that's interesting about this one is you have a lot of the northern part of the country, but also a lot of areas in the middle and some parts in the south have a lot of profits overall, which means maybe there's another thing playing, that's not just the weather. Maybe it's something else to do with the economy, perhaps. I would have to look into that further. If we go to the unprofitable, you will see Texas, you will see Florida, you will see Oregon is there. There are a few outliers. I would say Oregon is probably one of them. Now, you have more states that are profitable than unprofitable. So I would say in general, that would be good news for the superstore. But I would also say in general, there are grounds for improvement. And we're back to the forecast page. So before I end the video, I would like to end by saying, based on all the trends and the data, as well as the line charts, I think that the most responsible conclusion, if we're going to make any conclusions, I think the most responsible conclusion to make from me would be that most sales occur not during the summer, but either before summer or after summer. So it's during the cold season where the most people like to go and shop for new products. So if I were to communicate any conclusions to the stakeholders, that's one main point I would like to hone in on and try to communicate as clear as possible.